Hello, hello. Good to see you. You'll get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. Amelie gets fairy dust. Okay. Number 10. Advanced bitches answer their calling because that enables them to be the happiest, most fulfilled, and astonishing versions of themselves. Tall order, right? Yes. So we don't all get to be what we want to be or what we were meant to be. Lots of things happen along the way. But it's still our responsibility to listen to a part of us that needs to be expressed. Some of you work in Wall Street, you work in advertising, but you long to be a writer. Like you want to write a book, like you want that. I'm saying don't quit your other jobs, but it is your duty to start writing because you're a writer. That's just the way it is. You're a writer. And there will be tools about how to find your calling. There's lots of ways to get in there. One of them is just to guess. Like just, if I were to have a calling, what would it be? And, or dreams of what you would like to be. Now, if I had a dream to be, a Major League Baseball player, there's a limitation there. Like for when I'm elderly. And I'm female, and I'm short, and I don't know how to play baseball. So that's probably not going to be my calling. But if let's say it was, then maybe I go to every game. Maybe I'm one of those people that go to all the games in all the cities, or maybe I'm a person that I'll start a blog or an Instagram account on my take or whatever on baseball. I'm saying your calling has to be answered. You're being called, and are you answering? And the way that I'm going to language it, you can language it any way you want to. It could be religious, it can be completely secular, but the way that I understand it to be is my psyche knows. My psyche knows what I'm supposed to be. My psyche knows, I know when I'm the happiest when I talk about the shit that I talk about. Laden with profanity, funny as fuck, silly as fuck, but true, real personal growth shit. And I've always been interested in shit like that. I've always been interested in dynamics from very early on, not understanding that that's what was happening to me. That was actually, I was studying dynamics. I just thought, because I had high social intelligence. And some people are scared of their calling. Some people are scared of their calling. And I remember one of the self-help authors in the 90s I think it was Marianne Williamson. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was. But she says that God, the gut person said about their calling, what if God wants me to be an accountant? What if that's my calling? And she's like, don't you think God is actually smart enough to know that if your calling was to be accountant, you would like numbers? Our calling is not a stranger to us. Our calling isn't going to be something that we don't want. In fact, that's how you know it's not your calling, is if you don't want to be doing it. Your calling is, that's why I love calling it a calling, because it's actually calling to you. It's calling to you right now. It's always called to you. What are the things that just make you feel more like you? What are those things? And it is our duty to answer our calling. It doesn't mean you have to get a job in your calling. It doesn't mean you have to get famous in your calling. It just means you have to answer the calling, or you will be fucking miserable for the rest of your life. And you can't have that. You just can't have that. And that's not advanced. To settle, that's not advanced. You must answer your calling. It's not going anywhere. It's going to keep calling you. And the thing about answering it is that you do get to be the happiest, most fulfilled, most astonishing versions of themselves. Like that's, yeah. One of the tools, which we'll talk about underneath, but you've already probably heard me talk about, was doing a strength survey or the Myers-Briggs or any different number of assessments, which I will talk about, to finding your calling. And so if you take the VIA strengths inventory, the character strengths inventory on the University of Pennsylvania's website, which we'll have a link to it somewhere, you'll get your 5 strengths. And I guarantee you one of them makes you happier than the other. Which is the one that makes you the happiest? You know, is it bravery? Is it kindness? Is it humor? Then I would say you are following the thread of your calling. I guess we're mixing metaphors at this point, but that is how language and the psyche works. Sometimes it happens that way. So I want you to surround yourself with comedy. I want you to watch all the specials. I want you to watch the greats. I want you to read their books. I want you to go to comedy clubs. I want you to join an improv class. I want you to just dive head first into humor if that is your thing. And maybe your humor is the New Yorker, the cartoons in the New Yorker. Maybe whatever that. Go get those books. Gary Larson, like go. You can also find your calling in the shit you like. Like, what are the magazines you like? What are the websites you like? So the hints of your calling are all around you, and it's never left you. It's always there. And that you are actually required as an advanced bitch to answer your calling. It doesn't have to look, and it probably won't look how you think. I didn't think I'd be doing this kind of shit. Like, I had no idea. But I knew that I loved psychology. I loved it so much. And it seemed like it was my native tongue. Like, psychology was so interesting, will always be interesting, will always be I will always be excited to talk about it. And I let go of the outcome of that. Sometimes you can make the thing happen. Like, I made myself get that license. And part of my calling, I have to keep it up. I have to go get more continuing, but that's all part. So as part of it has to be forced, but the other part of it doesn't. I could have done some of this stuff, maybe not to been a counselor. I don't know that I would have been as good, because the counseling, being a counselor, has given me a lot of gifts and a lot of tools. So I'm just that much better. But this, what I'm doing here with you, is no different for me than me sitting in the chair working with a client. Like, it's part of my calling. As far as my calling is concerned, it is different for both of us. The relationship is different, whatever. But for me, it's fulfilling. It's as fulfilling, just different, but as fulfilling. My heart is full right now, and my heart is full every time I sit in my counseling chair. So we are going to be talking about, I will have assessments for you, and, hopefully a lot of examples of how people are answering their calling. And it's a magical thing when you can and when you do. All right. And it's just going to make you happy. That's how you'll know that you're answering it, is that you're just going to be happier, and you'll just feel astonishing. Anyway, all right. Love you. Bye.